So, what we're about to dive into is a blueprint for renewal. But this isn't just some business plan. It's a deeply personal mission to rebuild America, and it was born from a moment of intense crisis and forged with a warrior's discipline.
And this right here, this single sentence really sets the tone for everything. It's pure defiance, a flat-out refusal to quit, even when the odds feel absolutely impossible. That's the energy that fuels this entire vision.
So, what was the crisis that sparked all this? Well, it comes down to this number $400. That's it. That was the entire survival fund for a mandatory 2-week lockdown. I mean, barely enough to stay afloat, let alone architect a plan to rebuild an entire nation.
And that's the real tension here, isn't it? How does $400 and a pantry full of food become the tiny seed for something as massive as the All-American Network? Well, let's break it down.
Okay, Section 1, a 14-day fortress. See, this period of intense pressure, it wasn't a prison. It actually became an incubator. It was a 14-day lockdown where this grand vision was forged, completely shielded from all the noise of the outside world. The very first step was a conscious decision to just stop looking back. Any difficult history, family trauma, past struggles, all of it had to be put firmly in the rearview mirror. The only thing that mattered was execution. Just moving forward with total, absolute focus.
And a huge part of moving forward was reframing a really complex relationship with his brother. He started seeing him as a tutor, someone who taught the hard-knock skills of survival, the art of the hustle. But what was missing was the unconditional support of a brother. And that distinction is so crucial. It's the difference between learning how to fight and having someone in your corner while you do.
So, Section 2, Mission Control DNA. Where does the confidence to build a national network even come from? It's not just personal grit. It's practically coded into his DNA through this legacy of serious builders. Think about this warrior technician DNA. It comes from a pretty unique lineage. From his father, a Marine, he gets the grit and the discipline. From his mother, who worked at Rockwell International on the Apollo missions, he gets that aerospace mission control precision. And then from his own time as a National Guard radio tech, he mastered signal and communication. It's that blend of military toughness and high-tech thinking that forms the foundation for this whole thing. So the key here is that after a period of just kind of drifting, this unique background created the person who was perfectly suited to find a new frequency. Someone who could bridge that high-level aerospace-style vision with the boots-on-the-ground execution of a Marine. Let's move to Section 3, the Golden Rule OS. Every great machine needs an operating system, right? Well, for this network, the OS isn't code. It's a timeless principle. It's the soul in the machine. At its absolute core, the entire network runs on the Golden Rule. It's a really simple but powerful system of reciprocity. It's not about taking. It's all about creating mutually beneficial relationships. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Every action helps everyone involved. Now, that philosophy translates into something called the I-4 protocol, which is basically the network's engagement strategy. And it's not about pressure or any kind of sales tactics. The idea is to first inform people with the raw data, then instruct them on how to use the tools, inspire them with a vision of what's possible, and then, finally, just extend an open invite. The choice is always theirs. And this all comes back to this incredibly powerful mantra from Napoleon Hill. This idea is the fuel for the entire project. It's about having the vision, fostering the belief in that vision, and then just executing relentlessly until it becomes a reality. All right, Section 4, the All-American Machine. So what does this network actually look like in practice? Well, it's built on 2 interconnected engines, and each one has its own mission. First up, you've got the Diamond Squad. This is the culture engine. It's the public-facing arm focused on lifestyle, fashion, offense, all the cool stuff. The idea is to use what's called magic mirror holographic tech, think augmented reality displays, to help discover and develop talent. The ultimate goal, to create a Juilliard of the streets, making elite-level training accessible to absolutely everyone. Then, the other half of the machine is the Solar Squad. This is the infrastructure engine. It's focused on veterans and building self-sufficient communities called vet villages. I'm talking villages with their own food, their own water, their own solar power, creating a solar shield that protects them from dependency on broken systems. Now here's the really clever part. These 2 squads aren't separate. They're designed to form a perpetual learning loop. The cultural ambassadors from the Diamond Squad help build the community, while the technicians from the Solar Squad build the physical foundation. It's a self-sustaining system where today's graduates literally train tomorrow's recruits. So, Section 5, Starfighters on Thunder Buses. A vision this big needs a way to scale, right? So how does this network actually deploy across the nation? Well, the answer sounds a little bit like science fiction, but it's grounded in a really practical plan.
The elite trainees in this network, they're called Starfighters, and their training is totally next level. We're talking AR, VR, and a concept called a holographic room, basically an immersive simulation space. This lets them visualize and walk through their projects, iterating on the plan virtually before a single nail is hammered in the real world. And how do you get this academy to the people? On a Thunder Bus. Now, this isn't your average school bus, it's a mobile eagle's nest. It's a solar-powered franchise on wheels that can roll into any town and deploy the network's training, technology, and tools.
And to make this whole mobile franchise model work, there's a really clear chain of command. It scales all the way from a national director setting the overall vision down to city directors running local Eagles Club chapters. This structure makes sure the mission stays consistent as the network grows. And the one command that governs the entire operation? It's simple. Iterate, iterate, iterate. Constant refinement, constant improvement. You never settle for the first draft. It's a system designed to evolve. And this really brings us to the ultimate goal, captured perfectly in this metaphor. The world can treat people like disposable batteries, use them up and throw them away. The All-American Network is designed to build renewable people with the skills and support systems to recharge themselves and their communities. And that leaves us with a final thought. The whole system, the holographic rooms, the starfighters, it's all built around showing people their own potential. So the question for all of us is, if you had a magic mirror that showed you what you were truly capable of, what would you build?